Hey, Steven. How you doing? Hey, Megan. Keisha. Ken, good to see you. Meryl, hope you're doing well down there. Deb, John the Neil. Steve the Thorpe. Andy. Oh, thank you, Andy. Very generous. I would have got back to you, but I was running out of time and trying to be punctual. Buenos noches. There's Mr. Driven. Kara, word. How's Bobby, Kara? Recording session was great. Always fun. Hey, Ruth the Almond. Oh, put it on the TV. Get the headphones on, Ruth. You're going to like this. At least I hope so. I did a little too much work on this one. I started yesterday. And I thought I can't disappoint Terry and do something horrible. How would that be? Be like, hey, Terry, I'm going to do a show. I'm going to do a bunch of leftover crap that I always do. Okay, well, that's good. That's good, Deb. I think Daryl's going to like this. It's going to be a couple of unknown things. So I will give you a little bit of background before I start. Hey, Helen. We are going to have Terry call in around 9 o'clock. You can ask him whatever questions you want, and we have some fun stories to tell, hopefully. But I put together what I call the Terry Brown medley. Now, as far as I know, everything I'm going to play, Terry has either produced, engineered, or been in the room bringing tea and coffee. Either way, it doesn't matter. He's in the room. And the only one that I'm taking liberties with is maybe the second one, because I know that he worked with Procol Harum. I just don't know which song. And he's got some great stories about people that you think that you would have never known, and then some you would know, obviously. And there might be some of that as well. And I'm doing my usual thing where I talk too much at the beginning because I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing. But I think everything's going to work. So what I've done is I've created a backing tracks medley. And shall forever be known as the Broon or Terry Brown medley. Hey, Clay. How you doing? Say hi to Moops. Oh, and Keisha, I've got the chocolate somewhere. Where did I put it? I need to have some chocolate before I venture off into this. Where did I put it? I thought I brought it up with me. Oh, well. I think we're going to have to blast through this without chocolate. Although I did have some just about 10 minutes ago. Thank you. This one is from Mexico. So I was thinking about Ken today. I thought he would have really liked this one. And there'll be some familiar stuff as well, of course. And some very ambitious stuff. Well, that's exciting, Megan. Arizona Michelle. Hey, Marcy. There's D&G. Hey, D&G. Okay. Now, so what I did was Terry and I talked, and I got some ideas of some stuff that he has done. And I Wikipedia'd him. It was nice to see that the associated act is David Barrett Trio on the Wikipedia page. That's nice. Did you know that, Terry? And, being associated with me can be good and bad, I suppose, depending on who you're talking to. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. So I started creating this list of songs that I wanted to multi-track and or create backing tracks for and create a medley. Some of the songs go in together nicely. Some of them not as much, but certainly it was fun doing, and I did it all yesterday. And then I woke up and I felt that the ending was just a little lacking, so I spent another few hours this morning tacking on the last couple of minutes. So it's about a 10-minute medley. And then after that, you're going to do some familiar things that Terry has specially mixed for today. So that's going to be exciting, hearing Kevin and Cody playing away with me. You know what I mean? That's great fun. And then we'll do a few things, and around 9, we'll Carlo from the Hood. Nina. Hey, Nina. Yeah, big medleys, AZ. Here we go. Oh, hey, here's my chocolate. I tucked it away on my new stand. See, I have my new stand over here. See that? Courtesy of my dad. Okay. This is great chocolate. All the way from Springfield. It'll definitely play better if I have a little bit. Tuesday. Toronto Michelle. Or you're not going to want to miss the first 10 minutes, Toronto Michelle. It's outstanding. It better be. I wish you guys could see how out of hand everything has gotten here. Okay. Let me get the guitar on. Yeah, you can ask Terry about that. He probably won't remember, but I think it's like use the key, unlock the door, and there's a little kind of door lock key that some people think is a mistake on the record. But I thought isn't that obviously a sound effect? That high note is just a high guitar. Doing this. You know, something like that. Okay, I'm almost ready here. can hear Cody laughing at the end of that. That was a lot of fun playing that with the guys, and it's nice to play with them in the headphones because they're not here. So that was epic sauce. Well, that's great to hear, Adam. Yeah, that was a very memorable recording session with Justin engineering and Terry producing, and me, Kevin, and Cody set up playing live in the studio the way it's supposed to be. So let me get settled here. Oh, thank you, Ken. I prepare the stuff from a technical end and don't get much of a chance to run through it. So, I didn't run through Beneath the Desert. And I'm also not making excuses, but, oh man, I can't believe I have one more thing to do. I have to do the big song. Okay, that's why I'm not done yet. I have one big song to do. I can't believe I almost forgot it. Thought it was a little bit early. Let's get so worked up, and I can't even think straight after that song. Okay, let's do one big song, and then we'll get Terry on the phone. It's a lot of these songs, like As Tears Go By. I'd never played that before. I recorded it yesterday. That's Marianne Faithfull, of course, written by Keith Richards, probably Jagger too, and Whiter Shade of Pale, Procol Harum, which of course I played kind of. Wild Thing used to jam that when we were kids, and that's kind of more the Trogs type thing I did. And Substitute, Terry was in on that session with The Who. Never played that one before. We did Little Wing, On the Road, which I like playing, and of course some Clat 2, which the Carpenters also did. Calling Occupants, which I like a lot. Big, epic stuff. And then we did a little bit of DB3 with Beneath the Desert. Well, you've heard this one. Look at these lights. I'm loving the lights. Well, hopefully you like this one, Daryl. Let me get adjusted here. How could I forget this one? Well, it's always fun playing that. Okay. Now it's time for some fun phone call stuff. Thanks, Deb. I turned up the guitar, mixing myself, and I went into the red. I hope it didn't distort into oblivion over the internet. Boy, I'm punctual. I told Terry I was going to call him at 9, and I'm going to call him right at 9. He'll be very impressed. Well, that's great, Deb. That's great to hear. Thank you. Hey, it's fun. Three shows a week, number 300 and whatever. It's a lot of material. Sure, I recycle a lot of material, but Now I just went to text Terry. That's funny. Let me see if I can operate my phone. I got to get in a different mindset. Well, that's.
Hello.
Hey, Terry. I got electronic thing happening here. Let me. That's not good. We didn't do it. We didn't do a test. Can you hear me?
I can.
It's doing that weird electronic thing. Hang on. We didn't do it. We didn't do a test. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, give me 1 sec. Now it's settling down. Hang on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, give me 1 sec.
And there's a crazy delay.
That's a long delay.
Thought I'd have some music on in the background. Well, you know what? It's calmed down now. I wonder. We'll sort it out. I'm trying to think.
Well, you know what? It's calmed down now. I wonder.
Hang on. Let me try something.
We'll sort it out. I'm trying to think.
How's that, Terry?
Hang on, let me try something.
And we've got this crazy delay going on.
What do you think it is?
I have no idea. You're calling me on your phone, or are you calling me through the system?
No, I'm calling on the phone, but I'm not.
I have no idea. You're calling me on your phone, or are you calling me through the
I'll tell you what. Not that it's going to matter. Oh my God. Hang on.
system?
Give me a way for me to sort this out.
Oh, yeah. Give it 10 seconds, though.
What would it be?
Oh, yeah. Give it 10 seconds, though.
What did we do last time? I don't think I think I did this right. I mean, I'll tell you what. I'll try calling you right back. I don't think I'll make a difference, but I'll try. Okay.
Okay. Hello?
Now, how's that?
Well, I can hear you, but I didn't see you speak.
Oh, I know. Do you have any audio on where you are? Can you turn it
Well, I
on?
can hear you, but I didn't see you
What is
speak.
there? Can you turn whatever, like you're listening on the phone, but do you have the computer up or the show on where you are?
Okay, I've got it off.
Oh, okay. And how's that?
It's fine. I don't know what the delay's like with me answering you, but
That's okay now. I think it was. I think I was picking up your internet signal from your end.
oh, okay,
Oh, here we are, guys. I had to talk back into the. Okay, I think it's gonna be fine now.
great.
Okay, sorry guys, we just had a little thing. Thank you, Adam. I turned down my mic and I'm talking to you and nobody can hear me. Okay, guys, we're here. We got Terry, and it's the Terry Broon episode. Some of the guys have got questions, Terry.
Okay, it's great. By the way, it's been very cool. I loved your Klaatu thing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I really had fun. I thought I'd play some music in the background, but I think it's just distracting. Yeah, I had so much fun doing that. I actually put on the Carpenter's version, and then I realized.
Oh, is that right?
Well, I realized it because it was so close to the Klaatu one, isn't it? I mean, in a way.
Yeah. It's basically the same tune. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
There's no real changes.
I know, it's crazy.
But it's not. It's much more middle of the road though in terms of its production.
Yeah, right. But I don't know why I thought to listen to the. I don't know why I thought to listen to the Carpenters one, because I remember listening to the Klaatu last year because we were talking about Klaatu, and I went home and I listened to the whole record, and then I listened to that other one with like all the heavy orchestra stuff, and it was
Hope.
Yeah, it was
the album Hope.
It was crazy.
Oh yeah. While I think of it, I was going to mention to you, I was sorting out my stuff up at the studio, up at the house in Muskoka. And I found this little gizmo that people who can't speak, you can make this thing, and you sound like a little robot. And you put it on your throat, and you press the button as you mouth the words, and then the words come out of your mouth like a computer. So what we did for Little Neutrino, which is on that first Klaatu album, we hooked a synthesizer up to this little gizmo that normally is used on its own battery and sound. And we hooked a synth up to it, played the melody, and then mouthed the words. So the robot singing on Little Neutrino is done that way. It's pretty clever. That was D. Long's genius idea.
And that was long before. I mean, vocorders and things were just becoming new, and there just wasn't the same type of vocal processing that there is today, you know?
No, it was totally different.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But it was kind of interesting when you had to work a lot harder to get sounds too, right? Because you couldn't just sit there with a plug-in. You had to really do jump through hoops and
yeah, true.
Know, they're doing a Frampton box now that is all kind of in one, where it's a floor pedal with like a built-in speaker in the box, so you don't actually have to do the talk box with the whole through the amp thing, and it sounds quite good. But I mean, again, everything is kind of being simplified, you know, and updated. And
yeah, well, a big part of it is having the idea in your head and knowing what it is you're trying to reproduce, and having the chops to be able to reproduce it.
Well, I got Merrill is asking, hey Merrill.
Yeah, hey Merrill.
Yeah, he's asking, where did the name Broon come from? So is Andy, and let me. We've been talking. I got to read the screen here. So it comes up all the time, the name Broon. Yeah,
it was. If I remember correctly, it was Neil. He called me Broonsy, Big Bill Broonsy. It was a very famous.
Oh yeah, I love Big
blues artist.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it was sort of taken from that, and then adapted a little bit, and ended up just being plain old Broon.
And then the other thing that I know I've asked you and I've forgotten, but some of the guys at gigs ask where, and you can't remember, can you, where the title Broon's Bane came from? Because I know I think we've addressed that before, haven't we?
Yeah, I can't remember how that actually came about, but I think what I recalled was Alex noodling and driving me crazy while I was trying to get something together. And so Broon's Bane came up, and then he wrote this little piece.
But
But I'd
didn't?
have to ask
Oh, go
Big
ahead.
Al
Go ahead.
about that because he's got a better memory than me.
Well, I guess it wasn't you, and I don't think it was Al, but I thought that piece was supposed to make the album, and it didn't make the studio album, so it was put on the live album.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's you're kind of yeah.
Yeah, we didn't really have anywhere to put it on the
Yeah, and it makes sense looking
studio album.
right. I mean, it doesn't. It's kind of quirky on the live album the way it leads into. I mean, it's a great little thing. I've always liked it, and I learned it years ago. But I it was kind of weird that you could see how it wouldn't really fit on the studio record with the trees. 'Cause it's kind of like an intro to an intro, you know.
Yeah, I think it got developed too over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool little piece.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wish he would do a whole record of stuff like that, but I know that he's not probably feeling that. But anyway, he's got his new record coming out in a few weeks. So
That's right.
That's cool. Yeah.
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 Looking forward to hearing that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I got the special edition vinyl on order. So.
Yeah, you were saying, yeah. I need to do the same thing. Speaking of special edition, I just got my box set of moving pictures today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's really cool, I got to say. It's fabulous artwork from Hugh. And
oh, yeah, it's quite the package, eh?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Really.
I don't know where, but I might have heard some of it. I don't know where I would hear that, but I think it's probably pretty good.
I certainly hope so. I didn't get a chance to listen to like 8 hours of audio today, but
yeah. Well, for those of you who don't know out there about the Rush Moving Pictures vinyl that's coming out, there's the a giant package with all kinds of additional artwork, and the vinyl of the album is a special metal mastered disc cut vinyl with a bunch of live recordings that Terry has mixed in Toronto, and really some of the, I think, the high point of the live Rush thing. And Terry mixed it all, and it's like 4 LPs or something of live. It's like a lot. It's like 19, 20 songs or something, Terry?
It's I forget how many. I think you're right. 4 LPs, 8 sides.
Mm-hmm. Now Alex Marlin has got a question here. Oh, sorry, Terry. I was just gonna. My screen is zipping by. I'm missing questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Alex Marlin asked, Terry, what Rush song would you say you had the most impact on as a producer?
Oh God, I have no idea.
Don't say. Oh, don't say.
I mean, it depends on where you're coming from. I mean, if we're talking arrangement or sounds or performance, I don't know. I mean, there's so many different aspects.
Well, what would be? Let me.
How about the Villa Strangiato?
Would be the. Oh, really?
And that gets talked about a lot. Well,
is that because of arrangement?
We recorded it in pieces because it was just too involved and too lengthy, and I don't think it even would fit on a roll of tape. So we had to do it in pieces.
Well, Yes did that too. You know, they would do Heart of the Sunrise, and they would do it in sections, and then they would go in the studio and they would just do like 8 bars of like something in 5/4, and then Eddie Alford would edit it together. So I guess you guys were doing the same thing, kind of around in the same era.
Quite like that, but I mean, we do like long sections, but it was too much for my brain to take in at the time because it was all brand new music, and it was just pretty complicated. Although now, of course, 40 years later or whatever, it is even more actually. It's not, I know every note and every move.
Well, I played it in my...
As you do.
Well, yeah, but it's funny because what I liked, I feel like I'm always setting people straight because like I actually don't, I've never sat at home and really played Rush and Led Zeppelin. I mean, I did when I started electric guitar in the 70s, but I don't actually do that. So what I will do is I will learn something out of curiosity, or I'll learn something the day of a broadcast. And in the case of the Rush stuff, I did some Classic Albums live shows where I actually learned some of the stuff semi-properly. So then what I would do is I would have to listen to it like before I do my broadcast so that I can kind of refresh my memory. But like I never really sit there and play like.
No, and you can hear that in the playing. I mean, you have so much freedom, and you do it in the David Barrett style, which is so cool.
Yeah,
if you
because
were to
it's
copy it verbatim, it would be. I don't think it would work.
No, it wouldn't really be any fun, But I think it is kind of yeah. But it would be nice to be all super pro and go, hey, look, without play. But I just don't do that, And it's my it's my thing, so I can choose to. But anyway, that's kind of sometimes what I tell people. It's like, I mean, I just sometimes I have no idea what I'm doing. And
well, I hope that answered Alex's question.
Yes, absolutely. And what else did we get? Oh, Andy, it's the Toronto show. I believe it's Maple Leaf Gardens.
Yeah, it was the whole show from beginning to end. Yeah. 2 hours and 5 minutes, I think.
But that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, and because we're chatting here and time will just fly by, I wanted to ask you about some of the things we were talking about. And it's a two-part question. So we can talk about some of the people that kind of blew my mind that you had worked with that I didn't know you had worked with. And the other thing we can talk about is some of your things like your crazy ghost stories and stuff.
I don't know how we can weave the ghost story.
Well, let's leave the ghost story for a second, but I'll just go through some of the tunes that I played. So, I didn't
should have done that when you had the lights out.
What's that? Yeah.
That was totally
yeah. Oh yeah, but oh my God, did the drum go way into the red because I turned up the?
It sounded great.
Oh really? Because
it sounded very cool.
That's fun, man. I just I'm kind of pushing some of these things to the limit here.
I was sitting here thinking, I don't remember recording that.
Well, I got this little drum that my mom and dad brought me back from Ireland. It's a little mini Bodron
It sounded huge.
Yeah, and I just kind of put I'm using an effects send, so I have access to my tape delay and my EMT reverb.
Oh yeah. No, that was.
So excellent. It always comes out a little bit different. Keisha says Barbara Streisand. Yeah, maybe you got a Barbara Streisand. That must have been something. Would that be 60s or? That would be...
Yeah, it was. I think 65.
Wow.
64. I can't remember. I'm terrible with dates. But anyway.
Was she an intimidating force to be reckoned with?
She was lovely.
Wow.
She was great. She was very young at that point as well. So she came in. They had all the score. It was an American arranger and obviously a British band and orchestra. And they came in and we spent 2 days and recorded the album from start to finish.
Wow.
She was amazing. Yeah.
2 days, eh? And
2 days.
Is that like live with orchestra kind of thing, or?
Yeah, we're doing it 4 tracks. So we had like the rhythm section on 1 track, strings on 1 track, horns on a track, and Barbara on the 4th track.
Wow.
And then we mixed it down.
That's now. I got to tell you guys something out there. Terry and I were talking yesterday or the other day, and I was watching the Beatles Get Back documentary, and you'll see in the studio they got 4 giant speakers, and I'm saying to myself, what are these guys doing in this room smaller than like my bedroom with like 4 massive speakers? And Terry was saying, well, back in the day they had 4 tracks, and on playback each track played through a separate speaker. That is
you could change that, but that's how it works. So you could just turn the speaker down if you wanted the rhythm section a little lower.
That is just. I would love to hear what that's like to record with that kind of playback, and I'm sure that the speakers probably sounded great because they wouldn't have been like. I mean, technology being whatever it is, the speakers were good, or were they?
Oh, they were good. They were Tannoy Reds.
Tannoys, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, 15-inch dual concentric, and in a Lockwood cabinet, and they really sounded great, just wonderful. My brother's got a pair of them.
Oh, wow.
He has them in his house.
I'd started doing studio stuff a bit, way back in the 80s. I always thought tannoys kind of had a little more of a scooped sound with a little more pronounced bottom. They weren't kind of as bland or flat sounding as like NS10s and things like that. Is that right, or am I wrong about that?
What the tannoys?
Yeah, the tannoys. I don't know why.
Well, yeah, they're pretty fat sounding speakers.
Yeah, kind of fat, right?
Using. Now, you probably were listening to Golds.
Yes, that's right.
The Golds didn't sound.
True.
I don't think they sounded quite as good as the Reds, but they probably sounded more accurate than the Reds. But we just got great results using the tannoy and the Lockwood.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
we've come a long way since then.
Yeah, and then so there's Barbara Streisand, and did the Trogs have any fighting going on when you were recording the Trogs?
No, none at all. It was a great session, a lot of fun. We recorded, I think, 2 songs in an afternoon, one of which was Wild Thing.
That's crazy.
I know. It was great.
Wow.
I mean, as soon as they started laying the track, it was, you get that, oh my God, this is a hit.
Really? Yeah, really,
right on the day you're doing it. That's a great feeling.
Do you think you get any kind of mojo being around things like this, and then you can get a feel for what a hit is? Like, can you tell that as a producer, or you don't, or you think you're just as in the dark like anybody else?
Well, I always like to think that I had somewhat of a handle on it. I mean, I've been wrong a lot of times, but
yeah, right, yeah.
But I've been right a few times, and that's really all it takes to keep your enthusiasm.
Yeah, because you guys did some. Well, Daryl's got a question here. He says, "Can you talk a little bit about your early days at Abbey Road, and were you intimidated? And did you cross paths with Alan Parsons? I don't think I've ever asked you that."
No, I have never set foot in Abbey Road, believe it or not.
Wow, you were at Olympic?
I've walked past it quite a few times.
Wow.
I've never been in.
Wow. But you were at Olympic. Was that the studio that you did a lot of work at?
Well, I started at Old Olympic, which was in Carlton Mews, just off Baker Street. Mm-hmm. And that one that I left before it closed down, but it eventually closed down, and they opened a studio in Barnes, a big studio, which is where the Stones recorded. Well, they actually recorded at the old one too, but
wow,
it was a huge studio, big enough for a huge symphony orchestra.
Yeah,
and it was a fantastic spot.
Wow. The guys don't, I don't really talk about I think I've told you my first experiences recording in Toronto in studios was like the 83 at like Sounds Interchange. So I was recording at both Studio 1 and Studio 2. And the interesting thing is that Studio 2 had the Neve, which as soon as you plugged in your guitar through a Neve and through that sound, you heard this sound. We even put up tape delays in the 1/4-inch machines and used real tape echo. And then I would read about all the effects and ask the guys, have you got this? And have you got a lexicon? And have you got, and I would do all these things that I had read about in Guitar Player magazine. And I would also, and then in Studio 1 was a big orchestra thing. And I would take my amps and I would borrow the guys in the neighborhood. I would borrow their Marshalls and Fenders and things. So I would have this stack, a wall of amps. I don't even have any pictures of this, but it was just so amazing because I was still in high school and I'm in the studio with like all this stuff, which I could never afford, but not like I don't even know what the rate was, probably only a few $100 an hour back then. I don't even know what it would be, or like a few $100 for a day. I don't even know what would it cost back then. I don't know. But anyway, it was just a mind-blowing experience, and now, of course, most of those studios that we're talking about are all gone, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. Olympic closed down, probably 4 or 5 years ago now.
Yeah, so one of the
they turned it back into a cinema. It originally was a cinema.
Oh, wow.
So they turned it back into a cinema.
Wow.
But, yeah, very sad.
Yeah.
But then we do things so differently these days.
Well, we do, and at least the funny thing is, at least we perfected our online file sharing skills because It's had people like me step up my recording game a little bit so that hopefully I can give you better sounding files because we haven't been we made 2 records over basically by file sharing, not being in the same room, which is kind of it's great to be able to do, but also kind of a bummer that you're not like working with. Actually,
no, yeah, it worked. I mean, the style of albums that we did, I think, works really, really well.
Well, that's actually true, isn't it? Because we did do a style of record where Scott was kind of working in a solitary way, but with your feedback, which is great, but working in an orchestrated way, like you would be working on a film. So really, it's not the kind of work that I really have the patience to even be around for. I much rather prefer Scott orchestrate than I listen. I couldn't possibly imagine how.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
you know,
it wouldn't be
yeah.
realistic
Yeah.
it wouldn't be realistic to have us sitting in a room with a 40-piece orchestra saying, I'm not so sure about the part on the flutes. Maybe
No,
we
I know.
say,
Can you imagine how
let
crazy?
us see.
Well, yeah, it totally shut down the what
I
the
think
process.
we'll go broke.
Well, here we got a question from Daryl, and he says, "How much input does an engineer have versus the producer?" Well, different roles, but Terry can talk about that.
Well, I mean, it depends. Yeah, these days, I don't really know, to be honest with you. It's hard to say. It's been a while since I've been in the studio as an engineer. But I remember back in the day when I was doing engineering, I was helping get sound and helping arrangements and doing stuff. And it was then that I decided to move on to being a producer because I thought I was wasting some of my talent being engineer.
Well,
after a while, you
yeah.
don't want to keep pushing buttons.
I think right, but I think that from some of my more, I mean, what's the word? Label sessions or sessions with name producers or whatever. Sometimes I found there was a bit of a thing where some engineers would keep their jobs because they wouldn't offer an opinion because sometimes it wasn't welcome, which depending on the egos of the people that are either, in the band or so sometimes, unfortunately, some of these guys have got a lot of talent and they're not allowed to really say anything because the artist is the type of artist that kind of doesn't want to hear it.
Well, yeah, it's going to vary from session to session, depending on, as you say, like the personalities involved. And sometimes the artist will, be extremely vocal about how they want to approach things. But then there's a lot of times, I've been in sessions years ago where the artist was like, okay, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, well,
they got the tunes, but they, weren't really familiar with studio etiquette and how it all went. So it just depends on the group and the group of people that are working together.
Yeah, for sure. And Andy says,
ideally, the producer should really be running the show.
Well, in a perfect
in
world,
most
right?
Cases would be.
It's gotta be. Okay, I got a question for you. Then you don't have to name any names, but have you ever? Well, I know the answer, but have you ever been on an album or a session where you're hired to be producer, but yet the band doesn't want to listen to you?
Well, not really.
Oh, that's good. Good for you. Okay.
I mean, looking back on my career, no, I haven't. I didn't really get involved in that. But I mean, there were times when I was working with artists, maybe in pre-production, and certain elements of the band, somebody in the band would give me a hard time, and I'd have to sort of babysit that person in order to get what I needed.
Well, that's probably true of any job, though, right? Probably true of any job, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But Andy says, how has technology changed the way things are recorded now? We kind of answer that, I guess, with everything being file shared.
Well, just the fact that we're working digitally and not using major consoles. A lot of people are just using like small Behringers, and a few preamps and running it into a laptop. But I mean, if you know what you're doing and you know what you're supposed to be getting sound-wise, there's some amazing results that people are getting.
Absolutely.
Just by plugging the laptop in. I mean, you got to laugh. You go into a studio and you got this huge console, and some teenager comes in with a laptop, plugs it in, starts recording and makes a hit record.
I
You
know.
gotta love it.
So Andy says, did Dave listen to you?
Oh, Dave never listens. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
I was forgetting we're on the air, aren't we?
And
No, we have a great relationship. I mean, it's we've done a lot of stuff
we've done a
together
lot of
just in the last
music.
couple of
Yeah,
years.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's what's good too. It's been quite varied. I mean, we did some band stuff, some live. We did stuff in the studio. We worked with a singer. We did Michael Sadler. We worked with we'd work with Scott Matthews and and then we did some with like orchestrated stuff. And then we did some very, very super guitar centric stuff. And I wanted to play Malaguena because I thought that's the perfect example of a producer pushing you to do something that I really, really didn't want to do because I was kind of either too insecure about playing flamenco or too lazy. But what I did was you said, hey, that's really good. I thought, hey, I learned this little bit as a kid. It's just a minute long. It'd be a great prelude or a great intro. And you said, hey, you know what? That's okay. But what if you made it into a whole thing? And then I started to research Brian Setzer and Chet Atkins and cop these licks and do my own arrangement, and it gave me a whole new piece that I can put in my show that's different than the other pieces. And I thought, I would have never done that if you didn't say, hey, that could be a lot better. Like, it's really an amazing thing.
I loved it.
Yeah. But it's just so, because it's kind of like the opposite of what artists do. They tend to want to be in a bubble and just have people go, oh, that's great. They don't really want anybody to really say, hey, that's okay, but it's not that great.
Well, it depends. Yeah, it depends. I mean, some artists are always looking for encouragement and ideas and to develop their music. It's, I mean, you should be able to play a great tune on an acoustic guitar and it should have life and an emotion and everything, but then you can take it and blow it up into something completely different.
Well, that's
a lot bigger.
Yeah, but that is like really. So often people ask me about producers and things, and I say, well, I worked with a couple of really interesting guys, almost 30 years ago, like Tom Panunzio and stuff. And Tom Panunzio worked on like Rattle and Hum and Born to Run and Darkness on the Edge of Town. Really big records, great stories, and really awesome to be in a in a setting like that, but often a lot of producer type situations I was in wasn't always that positive because I don't know, I wasn't maybe lucky to work with the right people. And then when I started with the David Barrett Trio thing between Big Al, you and having a little day there with Alan Parsons, and I started to really see the value later in my guitar playing career of how important that role can be when you work more properly on your material. It's just, and it's the greatest thing and some people don't have that that opportunity. They just kind of go their whole lives playing or producing themselves, doing home recordings. They don't get that experience, and it's just so incredibly valuable. For me anyway. It blew my mind.
I like to think so.
Yeah, if you had a job. So Keisha says, "What's your favorite Who song you worked on?" But I think you might have been the only one song, right? You can tell the story about working with the Who, and you can. What was Pete Townsend like? Because he's like a piece of work.
He was great. He knew exactly what he wanted, how he wanted to go about it. He produced that track, Substitute, if I remember correctly.
Right,
I don't remember Shel. Don't think Shel Tommy. I think he may have dropped in at the end of the session, but I don't think Shel was the producer on that one. And no, Pete was great. The whole band were great. It was a real thrill the whole day. It was hard to believe it was really happening. I mean, Entwistle's bass had piano strings on it. It was like, what the hell?
Really?
This bass sounds incredible.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild.
Terry, any comments? This is Ken McCaw. You've met Ken, I think.
Yeah, hi, Ken.
Yeah, Ken says Terry. Now, Ken's really interested in odd time signatures and kind of incorporating proggy things on his latest compositions. And he says, any comments on the use of odd time signatures?
Well, yeah, I listen to certain tunes. I'll be working on a tune with the band, and and it'll have it'll be in 4/4, but there's sections of it that would sound so good in 5 or 7. So, I mean, I'll throw that out because I think it's important to change it up. And if it's done properly, you don't, you sort of associate odd time signatures with music that you can't dance to and you can't listen to. But that's not really the case. I mean, Rush is a great example. The
I
time
know.
signatures are very varied, and yet everything flows beautifully. You don't need to know the ins and outs of the time signatures as long as musically it speaks to you.
It's amazing that there's kind of two schools of thought with the odd time signatures, and I thought Moving Pictures is a good example where there's a lot of time signatures, and even in a song like there's 3 or 4 prominent time signatures in Limelight. There's
Yeah, really.
if there's 7, if 3/4, and 4/4, and then there's actually another thing that Al likes to do is group things in 4/4 into groups of 3, so it's kind of like 12/8. Like a little thing will be 3 bars, but it'll be 4/4, and that sounds interesting. And they do this all the time. And then there's other of the prog bands where it's just very kind of modular, kind of angular music of all this kind of math rock, which is another thing altogether. But I just thought what's much more clever is like Pink Floyd Money and things like that, where people don't notice that it just happens to be in a different time signature, but it sounds super musical. Obviously, I think that's the better way to go. But
Yeah, I'm not really into like musical gymnastics.
No.
Just for the sake of time signatures. But where they work and they're appropriate, I think that's definitely the way to go.
Oh, I know some people, they send me stuff often. I get a lot of stuff of certain guitar things or proggy things, and it's often not really my thing. I like songs and stuff. But I got a question here. What was Mooney like? I guess Keith Moon. I guess you.
Oh my God, unbelievable! Like trying to record him he played his playing is so complicated and intricate that I really had to sort of move mics and make sure that they weren't in his way and yet capture all the nuances of what he was doing. Yeah, he was wild.
And no
great
no click track, I guess, back then.
No.
Yeah. That's a big.
I don't think we'd even heard of them back then.
Well, I try to explain to people, I like click tracks. They're your friend. Like, I mean, I used a click track on what I did on every single thing in the medley I did. I just Google a BPM just because I'm doing everything so quickly, right? And I did everything to in that case. I don't always. Sometimes I'll do a lot of multi-tracks, like we did Dark Eyes, or a multi-track guitar without a click because I like to speed up and slow down. But in the other stuff, when I'm trying to get things fast, I just I use a click and I multi-tracked everything to a click and put it all together all day yesterday.
The click track is not, it's definitely a usable thing. It depends on the artist. I mean, some drummers can't play to a click track.
Yeah,
so,
that's weird.
That's the problem. And you need to establish that when you're putting something together.
But you know what?
Some drummers just don't want to do it or don't feel that it's necessary. And then some drummers can't play to a click track. And it doesn't enhance the tune at all.
I watched the documentary on Chicago, and in the 80s, they got rid of their founding member drummer guy because with David Foster in the 80s production, he didn't play well to a click. However, when you listened to the drumming on the first Chicago record and the whole band, it's like incredible, right? But I almost think that he's just in such a vibe that it just wouldn't make sense to even consider that he's not in control of the meter. Like, why would you want that? For some guys and for some styles of music, just like classical music, they play to the conductor, but that's fluid, right? And it's kind of supposed to be, but that's a whole other.
Yeah, and don't forget, if you're producing something that you want to have, on the grid.
Oh, I know.
You can cut and paste.
Yeah, for sure.
Then you have to be playing to a click. There's no question about it.
Yeah, but Well, no, but the thing is, Andy, click tracks. I mean, you use click tracks so much that even in live and in the studio after, then it's just kind of your friend. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, Terry Kath, amazing. But the question was, what did you like? Well, this is from Marcy. Did you like Clockwork Angels, the last Rush record?
Yeah, I did. It's not a record that I have gone back and visited a lot, but I enjoyed it when I first heard it.
Yeah, I'd like to revisit it too, because I think that when it came out, I didn't listen to it that much, and I should revisit it, because I don't know. I think at the time there was a lot of I don't know, just some.
Well, they were sort of pulling back, weren't they, to a more of a trio kind of sound.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not literally, but more so.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So, yeah, it's a good record though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And of course, Nick.
They're all good records.
Yeah, and Nick Raskulinecz did the Crownlands stuff as well. So Nick was, I think.
Yeah, he did a great job on that.
Yeah. So, Eminence Front used. Well, do you know, Andy, Eminence Front is one of the first and only early examples of a keyboard sequence. Eminence Front, right? Is that the one with the keyboard? Or I'm thinking of something else.
But I'm not familiar with Eminence Front, to be honest with you. Yeah. It never sounded good in his Mini.
Was that Paul? Paul's
That's funny. Yeah. Paul said that.
And Alex says, Terry, any tips on what makes a great song arrangement?
Well, that's kind of like how long is a piece of string. It's difficult to say. I mean, once you've got the elements for a song, then you can look at it and maybe make some changes, or the arrangement may make it better. But to actually what arrangements make a song better, I don't know. I'd have to hear the song first.
Exactly. And Keisha says, is there any new artists that you like? I guess Crownlands.
I'm a huge fan of Crownlands. Mm-hmm. I think they're just deadly.
Yeah, they're doing great.
Just deadly.
Yeah.
And didn't I hear that they're playing tonight at Fallsview with
tonight?
Blue Rodeo?
Yeah, it's
Is it really Blue Rodeo and Crownlands?
There's a third band on the bill too, and
that's amazing. Wow, what a combination.
I know.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall at that show.
So I have a Blue Rodeo story. So I played out in Saskatoon in August, and we played the Saskatoon exhibition, whatever that is, and I had never met Greg Keeler. You obviously have, because Terry produced the Outskirts, the Blue Rodeo record. But I was going to sound check, and I was leaving my hotel room, and I walked out of my hotel room, and I looked down the hall, and there's this guitar case with a bunch of stickers all over it in the middle of the hall. So I walk down the hall, and I rap on the door, and Greg Keeler answers and goes, "Oh God, I do that all the time." And then I had my guitars on my back because I was taking them, and I had my Dagmar, my kind of special guitar, and I had my D'Angelico. So we opened up our guitar cases in the hall and shared guitars, and I checked out his, and he checked out my guitars, and we talked about guitars. It was really cool. So that was my introduction to Greg. And then we played on different stages at the at the exhibition thing. So we got a chance to see them play, and then we played on a different stage at the other end of the grounds after they finished. And they had a great set and a bunch of vintage guitars, and it was a really, really good set. It was fantastic to watch. So that's my Blue Rodeo story. But who else is on the bill? I don't know. Now, is it tonight or tomorrow?
I think I was talking to you. I think you said it was tonight.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I'm getting the days mixed up. I even forgot it was Friday. So I'm probably not very reliable.
At some point, and doing some dates in the UK.
Yeah, and who's that with? There's some stuff in the UK, big name. What the hell is it?
Oh. You got me.
Yeah. Our friend Jean in Germany says, "Who's your favorite female musician?"
Ooh, Imogen Heap.
Oh, Imogene Heap, right on. Yeah, she did some cool stuff with Jeff Beck. That's how I know
She
her.
sure did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love what she does.
Wow.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah, yeah, great artist.
And I'm kind of listening to a lot of Dua Lipa.
Who?
Dua Lipa.
I don't know her.
Yeah, you do. It's like they've got the #1 record in Canada. They've had it for like a month
Oh yeah, but I'm
with
like,
Elton John.
no,
Cold
I.
Cold Heart.
Oh, that's her. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I've heard that in
Yeah.
like the shopping center.
There you
I'm
go.
kind of in a bubble. I don't really.
It's a great tune.
Oh, that's cool.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's 3 tunes.
You know
rolled
what?
into one.
I heard that a lot in Mexico.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah, that's right. That's,
Massive hit.
I heard that when I was in Mexico, and I thought, oh, what is it? They've done a mashup between Rocket Man
Yeah.
and Sacrifice. Yeah, and
But she's good. I've listened to selection of her stuff, and yeah.
well, I think my
Good
favorite
writer.
female artist is all-encompassing artist, great guitar player, and great songwriter and singer is Saint Vincent. I think she's awesome. Especially, I don't have the new record. I should probably just buy it. But the 2 ones before that are just stellar. Especially Mass Seduction. Just wow. I'm just amazing.
Okay, I'll check that out.
Saint Vincent. Yeah, like now. What is Ruth? I think my BI. What is a BIL? Oh, brother-in-law. See, I don't know. I don't have a brother-in-law because I'm not married. Adam says Blue Road is tomorrow, so I think it's Saturday, Terry.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Cool.
yeah. Adam is the source of all information here. He says it's Greta Van Fleet. They're doing a tour in the UK with Greta Van Fleet. That's cool, eh?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
in the UK?
Yeah, is that right?
I thought that was maybe it is. Yeah, it's like
Oh no.
July.
Adam says in the States. Okay, so
That's more like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll anyway. I follow them of course on Instagram, and I will get the updates. I just saw Kevin and Cody 2 days ago because I was doing some session work up at Chalet. So we talked and yeah. Oh, I don't know, Ruth. I get so confused about all these terms. I don't know. What I'm reading through because the screen is kind of
Yeah, no,
flying by.
I get you. Yeah.
The other guitar player who's great, but she plays with Alice Cooper, is Nita Strauss. And when I'm in NAMM, I have seen her play, and she's really fun because she's really showy, but she can really play well, and she's really more of a shredder. So there are some great women rockers out there right now, and I like Imelda May for singers as well. She's also on Jeff Beck stuff.
I haven't. I can't say that I've heard her on.
Yeah, there's a Jeff Beck record, Emotion and Commotion. It's about 10 years old now, but she was on it, and then she did the Les Paul tribute show with Jeff Beck where she sang all of Mary Ford's parts, and that's amazing. If you've never seen it, it's stellar.
Oh, obviously, I got a lot of catching up to do.
Well, yeah, I'm telling you all the current stuff that's all about 10 years old, so it shows you where I'm at. But
That's great.
Now, what else? Well, that's interesting. That's a good question, Gene, because I Wikipedia'd Terry to get some ideas for my little episode today, and you're credited, Terry, as for working on Axis Bold as Love. Is that true?
Yeah, I did the opening cut on that album with.
So you were in the studio with Jimi Hendrix?
Yeah, it was one of those.
Jeez.
I mean, I used to sit and chat with him on the stairs, and we'd have coffee together all the time.
Is that right?
But I never got in the studio with him. And then Eddie Kramer was busy one night and the session was booked, and he said, "Can you sit in on the session for me?
Oh.
Because I can't be there." So I said, "Sure." I mean, it was like, fine. I got nothing else to do, so
Jeez.
yeah, I got to hang out with him. That was a great session. Boy, it was
Wow.
just wild. He was a
Wow.
lovely, lovely guy.
I bet.
Yeah,
Steve
and the
Howe
band
talks
was
about
great.
Steve Howe talks about playing and jamming in clubs, and he would be on guitar and Jimi Hendrix would play bass. Can you imagine?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. Now, yeah, it's wow. Now, the other thing we have to get to the ghost story, but by now I will have sucked the life out of it. It's been deflating. But I wanted to ask you about sessions with Jimmy Page, because you said that you helped him load in with his amp and things like this, and that would have been the 60s.
Yeah, well,
And
you know, when I was working at Old Olympic, which was on Carlton Mews, the old one, which was Wellington's stables, and then it turned into a synagogue during World War II, and then it became a studio. And yeah, so Jimmy would show up. He was a rhythm guitar player. That was his forte at that point. I mean, obviously he had a lot more talent, but
yeah, but Steve
him
probably
him
knew
and
probably knew
Big
where the
Jim.
beat was, eh?
Well, yeah. Well, Big Jim Sullivan played the leads, and
Wow.
Jimmy Page played the rhythm section, rhythm guitars rather. And yeah, he would come in regularly. I mean, two or three times a week.
Really?
I'd see Jimmy. Oh yeah.
And did anything strike you about him where you felt that you were like learning something, being like, is there anything in particular, or was it just like you were just working? It wasn't like that.
I know I never really. I mean, I was pretty new to the business at that point. You know, I'd only been working at the studio for, maybe a few months or even less, and then I just started to get to know him, and and we'd chat. But I mean, we never really talked about where he was going and what was happening. There's a story that. He was working on a session. It wasn't an Olympic, but a session. And he got into an argument with the horn players. I don't know if you've heard that story.
No, I have not.
And he was giving them a hard time, or they were giving him a hard time about timing or something. I mean, I'm very vague on this story, but so the story goes, he just got up and walked out. And that was the end of his session career. And he became the man we
Really?
know him as now,
I have seen bands.
Mr. Led Zeppelin.
I've seen bands sometimes with the horn players, and sometimes I shouldn't even be saying this, but sometimes I just think, okay, the guy has a horn, but sometimes these guys aren't really playing like they're just not really playing in a melodic or in a musical sense. But there's like horns can be really, really abrasive, if not tuned and etc. But anyway, that's just me being.
Well, I mean, it's like anything, isn't it?
It's like
I mean,
anything,
I've
yeah,
heard
of
some
course,
guitar
yeah.
players that
Right.
don't
As
have
I'm
a
saying
tune.
that, I'm realizing, I'm thinking people are listening to me talk, going, God, that Dave Barrett guy, he's really got to shut
Yeah,
up.
but
Yeah.
anyway, that's
Exactly.
just a trivial little story. But apparently, he got up and left and never looked back.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just I don't know. I think that when I've been in the studio with some people that I really admire, I've noticed there's just sometimes there's like a process and a thing that you kind of pick up on, whereas you used to think like maybe going in, you just kind of play what you had in rehearsal, and then you don't realize that record making is like a different process. Then you pick up on some tips of how listen to Andy, please tune. You learn more about the process, and that's kind of illuminating,
Yeah, and don't forget the process changes over time. I mean,
Yeah.
back in the '60s, I mean, the Rolling Stones were writing songs in the studio and having huge success.
Yeah.
Today you don't see that a lot, but I guess you write your songs in your bedroom as you're recording on your laptop. So it's kind of
Yeah.
similar but very different.
Well, now is it time for the? Oh, we're. How are we doing for time? Oh,
It's
yeah.
9:55.
Do we have time for the ghost story?
The ghost story. Oh, all right then.
What session
So
was that?
it was actually right after the Lord's Prayer and on the day of Substitute by the Who.
Now, what was the
And
Lord's Prayer all about?
that was Barbara Streisand.
Oh, the same day.
No, it was right after. I
Oh,
mean,
session. Okay,
she
right.
was in for like 3 or 4 days, I think, during the or on the weekend or something. I forget now. And all the sheet music for the her sessions was sitting on speaker number 4. We talked about earlier having 4 speakers in a line.
Mm-hmm.
So speaker number 4, which would have been on your right hand side as you were facing the speakers. There was a big pile of sheet music, probably about 8 or 10 pounds of sheet music. It was about, I don't know, a foot high, and we recorded all day, and it just sat there. I mean, I didn't even think about it, to be honest with you. And we recorded all day. We got finished, and everybody left. And I was there later in the evening, about 8 o'clock. We had a curfew on the place because there was a residential place right next door, which was attached to the control room. So we had a curfew of 10 o'clock. So we never worked really late there, which is probably just as well. Otherwise, I think we'd have probably had a few casualties. So anyway, it's like 8 o'clock in the evening. One of the boys came in to do some editing, and he said, "How'd your session go today?" I said, "Oh, it's great, fantastic." He said, "Well, let me hear it. Let me hear it." So we put the tape on, and we're sitting there rocking away. We get about a minute and a half into Substitute, and this 10 pound pile of music hovers up in the air, and it moves over to the left into the middle of the speakers and drops on the floor between the speakers and the console. And we went completely white. I stopped the tape immediately and was like, "Oh my God, did you see that?" He goes, "Yeah." "What do you think that was?" I went, "Well, probably our ghost, because the place was haunted. We knew that anyway." So we thought, well, just in case we can, it might be something in the song. Maybe there's some weird subharmonic in the song. Not that we were really into subharmonics in those days, but it might happen again. So we ran the tape back to the top, picked up all the music, put it back in a pile on speaker number 4, and played the song again. And we got to the end of the song, and the music stayed there.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
crazy.
never solved it.
That's crazy. I mean, it really a stack of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
about a foot high, right?
It was pretty dramatic.
Wow.
We had we had a tape storage at the top of the building, and it was like a tower where the stairs were. The stairs were on sort of a tower, and at the top of the tower there was a room which we used to put all our tapes in. And we all did the same thing. We'd all go up there, and it would be creepy as hell. You'd go up there, and the first thing you'd do would be to put your back against the wall and turn the light on, and stand there for a second to make sure that nothing jumped out at you.
That's crazy.
I know.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Well,
Yeah. So that's my
okay.
ghost story.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I hope everybody can sleep now.
Yeah. Well, everybody's just kind of doing little ghost emojis and stuff. So we'll wrap it up. But thanks so much for chatting with us, Terry.
Well, thank you for putting this together. That was very entertaining. I loved it.
Daryl, I missed Helen's question. Some of the stuff I just can't catch everything. What did I miss? Could you post it again? I'll wait for a second. We got one more question from Helen. And yeah, thanks, Terry. That was great fun. And
it was
and great fun to play. Great fun to do just a little bit of research too, because sometimes, which is good. Oh, what's up for the future? Okay, so Helen says, what's up for the future? Because I was going to say that often, we actually don't talk about the past that much. And even with some of the other guys, people ask me, well, what is this? And I go, geez, I don't know. We never talked about that. And, so what's up for the future, Terry? What's up
for the future?
And Andy says, thanks, Terry, for all your stories. They're much more entertaining than Dave's. Shut up.
What a wind up.
Yeah.
I don't really have any amazing plans other than I'm moving, not moving, but I'm putting a mix room together up at my place in Muskoka. So that's the big thing for me now, is to really sort of fine tune that, and that's something I'll be working on.
Are you going to do anything different?
3 or 4 months.
You're going to do anything different in terms of gear, or are you going to kind of take what you got?
No,
in the beaches?
I'm going to take all the gear that's in my room down in the beach, and move it up north and add a few things to it perhaps, but that'll be basically it. I mean, it sounds so good and it works so well.
Yeah.
I don't want to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
And then I'll still be working at Russ's.
Oh, when you're
not up north.
Yeah.
When I'm in the city, I'll work at Russ's. So so that's the big thing for me. Musically, I don't have anything that's kicking the door down right now. It's because of COVID. I've been turning down stuff and not wanting to get together with bands and sweaty musicians who might be giving me COVID.
Wow, that's just good thinking, isn't it? Stay away from musicians. And I got Mike says thanks for signing his 8-track, his Hemispheres 8-track. Remember that a few years ago?
What?
Remember a few years ago we went to lunch out by the McMichael thing for that guitar exhibit thing, and I brought an 8-track Hemispheres.
Oh my God!
For you to sign. Yeah, so Mike's saying thank you
Holy
to that.
Smokes! Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and
I hope you still have it.
Yeah, he's got it. Mike's got some cool. Some of these guys got some collectible stuff. But 8-track though, probably don't play it, Mike. Don't put it in a machine. You never
know what might happen.
Tape's not gonna come out. It's not gonna work out so well. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Arizona Michelle. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Ruth. And Jean.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, Meryl.
And,
how's Meryl?
Meryl's good. Thanks, Meryl. Good to see you, Meryl. And good luck with all your crazy gadgets. And
I promise to call you, Meryl.
Yeah. And thank you, Daryl, Keisha, and Terry's actually his place in Port Carling, Ruth. So Bracebridge is actually our friend John McMillan has got a place in Bracebridge.
That's right. Yeah, it's very close.
Bracebridge, right? Yeah.
25-minute drive.
And Cara, go. How are things working out with you and Bob Weir, Cara? Is that going okay? And Alex, we'll see you at the Guitar Summit in a few weeks. Andy, good night. Gene, we covered the Hendrix stuff, I think, and it must be getting late. And what time is it, Gene? It's like 4:00 in Germany. 4:00 in the morning.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Adam, we'll see you in a few weeks. Adam, a couple of weeks. Helen, thank you. Lady J, hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, and we did. If you do on rewatch, Lady J, if you watch it, we do the Terry Brown medley at the top of the episode where a lot of that stuff. I got a question for you, Terry. What song did you do with Procol Harum? Because I did Whiter Shade of Pale, and I think that's the only one. What's it called?
Hamburg.
Yeah, I got to listen to that. I got to listen to their.
It's
catalog.
a really cool tune.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
I actually engineered a whole bunch of stuff on their very first album too, but there's no credits on it.
Yeah.
Although they had a re-release recently, and apparently my name was on it.
Oh wow, really? Okay.
But I still don't know which tunes they used because they were recording the album in 2 different studios simultaneously.
Yeah. Well, Peter Frampton was asked what I just heard an interview with Rick Beato the other day. Rick Beato asked Peter Frampton what his favorite song was, and he said it was Whiter Shade of Pale.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can't go far wrong with
No,
what I
you
said.
really can't. I know. I kind of, that's me on my typing. I typed in the organ part, so forgive me. But
There you go.
It was fun.
That was great, by the way.
It was fun. But I freaking,
Totally cool.
but I blew the guitar lead. I'm messing with the mouse and I'm doing the thing, and then all of a sudden the melody comes by and I got 2 passes, and I think I screwed up both passes. But anyway, whatever. Hey, it's live, right? We can't be canned.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole thing was cool.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Terry. And
really.
you'll be hearing
Thank-
from me soon. We'll start a new project soon. I feel
Okay, then.
I feel it coming on. I
I'll be
feel
sitting by my phone.
Yes. I feel new music coming. So
Good.
all right, Arizona Michelle, Lady J,
All right.
Marcy.
Thank you,
Thanks
everyone.
everybody. Thank you, Terry,
It was
and
really a pleasure.
that was a
Thank
lot
you,
of fun. Thanks for the stories and thanks for the
Thanks.
ghost stories.
Thanks for dreaming that up. That was too much.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks everybody.
Bye for now.
We'll see you.
Bye.
Thanks everybody. Have a great evening. We'll be back on Sunday. Thank you for the PayPal donations. Thank you so much, Daryl. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Gene. And thank you to Terry for the very entertaining discussion, hopefully. And we'll see you Sunday. I forget what the show is, but I'm going to post the poster shortly. And good night. Thank you for all the listening, and thank you for the participatory chatting and stuff. Yes, AZ, that was fun, wasn't it? Okay, I'm going to go. Have a great night, and thank you, Mike. Thank you, Marcy. Thank you, Meryl. Keep in touch, Meryl. And we'll see you guys later. See you, Zale.